Everyone, it's the first Real Talk after the phenomenal Texas Realtors Convention that we just all got back from. I don't know about you, Kathy and Corey. Justice, I didn't see you, but had a blast. Loved talking to all the agents. And now we're getting to have a Real Talk based on an awesome topic. And you guys were there at the expo and at the conference, but now we get to bring it to our members. And so we are talking about BrokerBay, which is no longer a secret. We have approved that as a new offering through our Netris dashboard. And so we're going to talk about tonight what that means for you guys, talk about the awesome features of BrokerBay, the integration with Supra, why Supra just had to be a part of that deal, and how it's going to benefit our members, which is why we have the esteemed Kathy Faulkner, MetroTech's director of the MLS. We have Justice Martin. He is the sales leader for BrokerBay. And Corey Epperson, she is the Supra National Account Manager. And I'm sure you have seen her face or heard her voice one or two times before. So thank you guys for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. And we're going to be super great to our guests tonight because I will tell you, I'm going to let a little cat out of the bag. They were concerned that we wouldn't give them a warm, hospitable welcome. And I'm just kidding. Of course we are. But Corey and Justice are always excited to talk to members and associations about bringing new experiences to our members. And that's what this is all about, is not about changes and disrupting the apple cart, but what we can do when we see a need in the real estate environment and how we can fill that. Because as MetroTech's Association of Realtors and also as a part of Netris, that's what we're always trying to do, is provide more service to our members. So Justice, I'm going to let you take it on first because we just want to hear about some of the goodies, how BrokerBay started, what the conception idea was, and just give us a few teasers of what we can expect offerings in the service itself.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why you and the brokers in your market area will really enjoy using BrokerBay is because BrokerBay was created by a real estate broker. He was unhappy with some of the showing service management options that were available to him, and so he decided to build his own. And so from the beginning, the showing management service has been built from the perspective of a practicing real estate broker. And so when we do demos, some of the things that we hear off on our end, it looks really pretty and it works really well. And so that's, talking about user interface and user experience. And so what you'll find is BrokerBay is a really beautifully designed application. It's very clean and intuitive. Things are where they're supposed to be. It's easy to navigate, but also things work well. So little things like instead of having to select drop-down boxes and select times, it's click and drag. Or on the mobile app, instead of having to use your finger to select times or little boxes and things like that, it's all just really, really easy one-click things. And so we try and take complex processes that you're doing and distill them down to single actions. So I'm just going to press my finger to make a change and the change happens. So that's really, really exciting for you all. It was designed by a broker for brokers. And we have some other really amazing features in the system that I think are going to be really exciting for you all to have access to as well.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but Justice, tell us some of the markets that you guys are currently in and officially coming soon to as well.
Yeah, so our biggest client right now is Toronto. So the Toronto Real Estate Board, several organizations in the Ontario area, Indianapolis, Colorado, and North Carolina Regional are all live today. Coming on board very soon, we'll have Smart MLS up in Connecticut. We'll have Intermountain in Idaho, Contra Costa in California, Chattanooga, Memphis, Amarillo.
Woohoo, Texas.
Yeah. And several. Corey is obviously the sales rep in Texas, and so we have a lot of Texas associations coming on board with BrokerBay soon. So.
Well, that's exciting, and that's what we wanted to make sure everybody understood, that we're not just guinea pigs here. This is a proven service that we just thought gosh, we need to look deeper into it. And is this going to be an offering that's going to enhance the member experience for us? So Corey, talk to us a little bit more about why Supra just had to be involved with the greatness of BrokerBay.
So apparently, and I got told that these conversations actually started a while ago. We were looking at different products because it just made sense. Everyone has said, you have the lock boxes, you have the showing. That just makes, perfect. It's a perfect marriage. It's a perfect partnership. So we actually looked at a lot of systems, and time again, BrokerBay was head and shoulders above the other options out there. And not only did Supra buy them or carrier buy them for what they're doing, but also for where they're going. So we really love their roadmap and where their technology is headed, and it just marries with us really perfectly. So so we got them, we purchased them last October. It's been really exciting. In my 16 years with Supra, we've never bought another company. So we bought this company. I have something new and exciting to sell people. It's been a really fun ride.
That's awesome, Corey. And Dustin, don't rub it in. So we have a phenomenal a friend of MetroTech's, and he is now involved with the California Association. We did lose Justice for a minute, but hopefully he'll click on the link and pop back in. But he said, come to California, please. So maybe that's the next step is, Corey, you talk to Dustin and see if you can get that introduction there. So
We would love to.
Perfect. All right. So Justice is still here. It looks like we're just having some camera issues. And Justice, just to let you know, pop back out and come back in and maybe it will solve it. Kathy?
Well, I was going to say, and just think of how excited, organizations like MetroTech who have had relationship with Supra for decades, literally since the late 80s. Where leggings were popular and,
There he is.
Hair and a scrunchie, probably.
Yes, perms and all things,
Hey, scrunchies are back, guys. Scrunchies are back. So,
yes.
Kathy, one thing that I think is really exciting, and it's not here just yet, but we will have the ability to utilize one app. So we can, I think, Justice, you were talking about it in the BrokerBay app. If our members choose, they don't have to leverage the eKey app if they just want to do everything housed in one system. Is that correct? Oh, no, we can't hear you. So you're going to have to work on that.
Correct.
That is correct, Corey. Now, we do know, because we talked about this, and while, technical difficulties, it's live, and that's why I make myself a spirited drink. That's not something that will be available right away. And I think talking about kind of the rollout that we're hoping end of Q4, we're going to roll this out. So that's very soon, guys. We're about to be in the fourth quarter of this year, but that it might be closer to, first quarter, maybe beginning of second quarter, that integration, just being able to use one app happens. So that is definitely a stay tuned feature. But Kathy, you brought something up, which is the adoption. And is this going to be something that everybody is required to leverage day one?
No, and that's why I want our members to relax. I've been getting a lot of, this, well, we're going to have to change. No, you don't have to change. You will just be presented with an opportunity to look at BrokerBay as a showing service. And there's no deadline, one's not going away and it's being replaced with something else. That's not what's happening. You're being presented with an option for a showing service that you can adopt at your own pace. And so whether it be, brokers can look at this, and then set it up for their entire company, or agents can look at it on an individual basis and just become, ready to do it at their own pace. So it's not anything where we're cutting off one thing and replacing it with something else. So I want people to kind of feel relaxed about that and know that, okay, we're not about to cram something down your throat and you have to start using it. So.
Well, like Brenda Thompson, who is a phenomenal board member and a broker herself, don't have to change, but you'll want to change. And Brenda is absolutely right. She watched the demo with me as well. And I think, we've been long tenured in this business, and especially Brenda is the broker and manager of a large brokerage called HomeSmarts. And so it's her job too, to try to figure out what things are going to bring ease and efficiency in her agent's business. And so when she saw what the functionality was going to be, man, she just got so excited. And that was the same response I had. And so, there's different things that are going to happen, but yeah, it's going to be a gradual learning curve, and that's okay. And so I think, Corey, hey, Justice, you want to try a mic check again?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yay, we got you now. All right, it's all good. Okay, Sherry Fearbucker, she kind of threw it up. And so if a brokerage adopts it, how would it be handled with billing? Would it be through MetroTex? And Kathy, I'll let you handle the short answer on that.
So BrokerBay will be included in the suite of products that are offered by Netris. So currently, your suite of products offered by Netris include the CoreLogic Matrix, Realist Tax. Coming next week, you'll see a new mobile app called MLS Touch. You'll see Cloud CMA as part of that suite, Instanet, Remine. I mean, there's a long list of, and so BrokerBay will be part of those that technology that will be available through Netris. And so Netris, when they contract with any of these vendors, they, will take that pricing and then pass it along to the shareholders. And then typically the shareholders will then pass that along to our members. So yes, there's going to be a change in your MLS fees. What that change will look like, I don't know yet. We're still crunching the numbers. So there will be a change, but MLS fees have not changed since 2012.
And that's a big deal. And look, they were, and I want to talk about that from being on the leadership team, with MetroTex and, some of these discussions is, it's not taken lightly. Nobody wants to sit there and take money out of our members' pockets unnecessarily. But because it's been, over a decade since we have raised MLS dues, but we have added so many of those offerings to the suite on the dashboard. That's what Kathy was talking about. We've got, what's the name of the mobile app that's coming, Kathy?
MLS Touch will be launched on the 22nd, so in a couple of days.
No, that's awesome. I mean, so it's all those things. I mean, nobody is raising or going to be increasing dues just because. This is because we're bringing these amazing offerings at a very subsidized cost to our members because of the amount of people that are under that umbrella. If you were to go and try to leverage, garnering some of these systems, the cost would be exponential. And so it is definitely something that we are taking a fine-tooth comb on, and we will figure that out later. But we just wanted to let you know that that's something that we haven't figured out yet. But we really wanted to talk about all of the positives and all of the things that you're going to be gaining from this. C-Rose said, I missed the beginning. What is being added? Okay, so the what is being added is BrokerBay, right, Justice?
That's right.
What is BrokerBay?
BrokerBay is a showing management platform. So it allows agents and brokers to interact with each other, to schedule showings on their properties, and to allow clients to interact in that process as well. So as a listing agent, if I've got a property that I need to facilitate showings for, I can put that information into BrokerBay. Other agents can request showings on my property, and then my seller can interact how I want them to, or any contact that I associate with that property. Maybe it's a tenant or, but anybody, if I want them to be able to confirm showing requests, they have that ability. And so it's a really flexible, usable system that will, help you facilitate showings for your clients.
No, and that's fantastic. And I appreciate that because I want to keep on reiterating what we are talking about today. And again, it's just another offering. And I will tell you, there's plenty of things that, whether it's a member benefit through the local, state, or national association, or something that's being offered through the suite of services through Netris, there's always things that our member-run organizations are trying to see, hey, can we bring something to our members at a subsidized cost that is going to increase their productivity and offer this to them? And this is a member benefit, just like anything else. There are tons of things that we've been able to get rid of. I got rid of a signing service that we utilized because we had AuthentiSign now offered through that. So that was a huge yearly contract that we were able to not pay anymore because we have the additional service through our suite of offerings. And so that's how you really have to be thinking of this. This is a member benefit. We're trying to bring it to you. And then you have to figure out your business decision, whether or not you want to keep those ancillary services that you might still be paying for. Maybe you want to leverage both. That's going to be up to you. But this was something that was needed. Corey, you talked about that. You guys saw a lane and you wanted to scoop that. So it wasn't just about, procuring BrokerBay. You guys knew that you wanted to have an integration with the showing service to create ease for the user experience. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to be innovative. We wanted to add value. And in this way, we went and bought ourselves some innovation. And, that sometimes new technology and innovation is going to come with a small price tag, but that's to be expected to be able to get those great new features and tools and all in one streamlined, beautiful, modern looking app.
So here's what I will tell you. I've been doing this for 17 years as a licensed agent, and a wee teenager that wasn't able to be licensed with my mother and was right there next to her when that was before we had online MLS access. As she likes to say, we still had fax machines. You couldn't even get zip forms on your own computer. And we had the little black boxes that were so fun to use. And you had to punch in a code to access the key box. And I don't know how many times it was an error code or you needed an update code and you're sitting there sweating, drenched in sweat with your client behind you. And you're like, okay, I just have to call this number, put in 92 digits and 5 special characters, and then we're going to get access to the lockbox. But you know what? Even removing that horrible friction from our process, people still had resistance to change, right? I mean, Kathy, you've been here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what that is. If you can visualize how free and liberating it is to not have your little black, code puncher. I don't remember what it's called anymore. And now having the eKey app, or even you had the little button. You had the little button that we had to keep on our keychains to do that. So we've come so far, and now we're just coming further. So if you bear with us, it's going to make your lives easier. And I will tell you, I actually do a lot of rural properties now because there's so many people that are able to work remotely or don't have to go in the office as much. And I literally say, God, please let both apps work simultaneously at the same time, because one might work, I lose service, I'm standing like this trying to get the second app to work because I want to see what my showing instructions are, and then I need to access the box at the same time. And while that's not going to happen right out of the gate, the fact that one could be leveraged to do both jobs, I think is just a huge win for all of us.
And sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Corey. You're more important.
Stop. I was going to say, there's definitely a fallacy out there where people think that you have to have cell coverage to use an eKey, and you don't. You don't have to have cell coverage. Bluetooth is just proximity. So as long as they've updated their eKey before they run out for the day, they can be all out in your rural areas accessing lock boxes. And when you come back into coverage, it'll send those notifications out. So you don't have to have cell coverage to have eKey or BrokerBay work for you.
That's fantastic. So what you're saying, Corey, is that I just should have done better updates, and maybe I wouldn't have all that friction when I'm out there. But that's fine. Corey's getting sassy, and I'm here for it. So
I'm not saying it was user error, but it might have been user error.
I love it. Hey, you show me where I need to. And here's Sherry again, and she's a wealth of knowledge, and she is also she's on our forms and contracts committee and has been a part of our professional development. But again, she's also my esteemed mother, and says, as a broker, I would appreciate a quality service incorporated into our suite of offered products billed through MetroText. One less fee for me to charge and possibly chase down through agent billing. And I think that's also a sentiment that we saw. This is going to change. Again, everybody is going to have the ability to leverage whatever system they do want to leverage. And I know, Kathy, it's important that we make sure that we get that out there. But that is some of the conversations that we've been able to have. To be able to have that streamlined billing process is actually going to be a positive for some people. Not everyone. We understand there's different contracts and there's different, there's different relationships. But for a lot of people, that's the conversation that I heard along the conference too, was, hey, this is going to be a great offering. It's going to also ease the billing process. But in turn, we just have to be open-minded when we're thinking about all that. So something else that I wanted to talk about was the safety. The safety component is something that when you guys were doing some of the demos and when we talked to leadership and other agents, was huge. When you talked about Justice, the adoption, whether it's an agent that, was raised with technology or an agent that has been doing this for 30 or 40 years and technology is not always, second nature, everybody's eyes lit up when they heard that there was going to be a security feature deployed at some point. Can you talk about what that security feature is in regards to lockbox access and scheduled showing times?
Yeah, so as we build out the integration with Supra, which will happen in phases, one of the final states will be the ability for your existing Supra lockboxes to be configured to be appointment only as an option. So as a listing agent, if I have a client who's a little bit concerned or nervous about having a lockbox on their home, I can assure them that the only way that a key would work on this box is if they've scheduled an appointment. And because of the way that the showing management in BrokerBay works, it's really easy for me to make that seller a part of that approval process. And not only to be a part of the approval process, but to be able to provide them a calendar so that they always know who's scheduled to be in their home at any period of time and how long they're supposed to be in their home. So a seller will always know that the box can only be opened by specific individuals during appointment windows. The seller will always know when those windows are happening and who's in their property. And so it's a really, really exciting development to be the only such integration with Supra that exists.
Well, and that's the one thing. So it's not going to happen right away. So everybody understands that. And there's going to be additional features that are going to happen over time. But that's something that we're thinking maybe we would get in Q1 or maybe beginning of Q2. Is that correct? Of next year?
Yeah, I think that's a fair estimate.
Okay.
We want to make sure we do it right. I can tell you it's going to come in phases. So,
okay.
The very first integration that you're going to see, as we've talked about, is the ability to use the e-key in the BrokerBay app. So, obtain key and release shackle functions will be built into BrokerBay. That's actually going to be going into beta in a live market before Netris even goes live with our product.
Awesome.
So there's a chance that could be there at launch, but I'm not going to commit to that. But it will be live and working this year. The next phase will be to be able to manage my entire keybox inventory inside of BrokerBay. So we're taking all of the different tools and features that I'm currently using in eKey or in SuperWeb, and we're going to port all of those things over to be functional inside of BrokerBay as well. Not getting rid of SuperWeb, not getting rid of eKey, but if I'm a user of both platforms, I'll be able to do everything I can do on my eKey app or in SuperWeb via BrokerBay. And then the final piece of that integration will be the appointment-only access that we've just described.
Well, and that's huge. Go ahead, Kathy.
I was going to just ask, will that appointment only, will that be part of the suite of products? I mean, will there be extra charge for that? That's what bottom line.
No, that will be a core feature of the application. So there are no additional charges for features. Everything that was presented is included in the application and in the license to Netris.
Yeah, and I think Pam Nims has a great question about, that appointment only. What if, because, markets are crazy. I know I went with my son and daughter-in-law to look at houses, and there were agents lined up out the door, outside waiting to get in. And so, of course, we were on time, by the way, but, like she says, what if they're running behind, or, how do they deal with those issues when it's an appointment only situation?
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's definitely something as we get to having that box, it's something that we'll really have to deal with, but it's also something that we're dealing with in the short term as well. So current state, if an agent is running late and they need to reschedule, they would use the reschedule function. Moving forward, what we want to go to is allow the listing agent to allow showing agents to push a showing and maintain the approval or the confirmation that was there in place already. That is a feature that's coming soon. As of today, it needs to be done via the reschedule function. It's not as big of a deal today, because the pushing of an appointment doesn't determine whether or not I can access the box, if that makes sense. Because that functionality isn't integrated today, if I'm running a little bit late, not a big deal. It's really easy to message the agent, hey, I'm running 15 minutes late, and your key is going to work on that box just fine. So it is something that will be in place. However, the ability to push showings is something that will be in place prior to that appointment-only feature being built into the key boxes.
So I want to talk about from a practitioner standpoint, because that's what I am over here. And so to set expectations with my clients, and I do, and unfortunately, some agents take liberties, and you're welcome, Pam. Some agents take liberties, and we shouldn't be doing that. That's a part of just our professionalism in this industry. You need to be accessing that lockbox during your appointment schedule, and you need to be leaving during your appointment, before the expiration of your showing timeline. But I didn't even know that. So this is new. My mind's blown, is that there's going to be a push aspect, because I tell my clients all the time, hey, sometimes they can get there a little early. Sometimes they might, be loving the house, walking through and deciding what they're going to offer at the kitchen table, which is at the dream. And so let's allow a 15-minute push before and after. So you guys need to know that just ease and experience for them. That's huge, because I don't know how many times, like you were talking about, Kathy, that there's people that maybe they don't want you overlapping while they're showing the property. And so they don't want you accessing at the same time. I think that is an amazing feature, and I will definitely be setting proper expectations with my clients as well to set that up.
Well, and we do have a buffer feature built into the system today. So if you really want to make sure that agents aren't overlapping in showings today, you have the ability to say, I want a 30-minute buffer between any showing. So,
no, I don't care. Hey, I'm all about competition, so you know what's going on. So I don't care about the overlapping. It's just more of, hey, sometimes, you know what, that last house wasn't the one for us, so we budgeted 25 minutes to go look at that house, and it only took us 12.
Yes.
Now we're sitting in front of the house 15 minutes early. Hey, guys, I'm going to see if they've enabled the push feature, and maybe I'll be able to access it early or later. And so I think those are things that obviously you guys are real-time thinking about, because, again, it was originally, the concept was from a broker.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And from a listing agent or from a listing broker perspective, I may not want to allow agents to push showings. So that will definitely be an optional feature, and it will be on a per listing basis.
No, and I think that's great. Richard Weeks, is this for Metrotex or Netris? Sorry if you've already covered it and missed the beginning. That's all right, Richard. This is actually a Netris offering. Kathy, do you want to just kind of touch on that real quick?
This contract that BrokerBay is Supra is entering into for this showing service is through Netris. So this will be available to all Netris subscribers, all 51,000 of them. So yes.
And how many associations does that span with our shareholders?
15, including Northwest Louisiana.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what you guys need to understand. A lot of times when we're talking about this, we as Metrotex are trying to give you guys some transparency and understanding of what's going on, but this is a Netris adoption throughout all of our shareholders and associations. So, Richard, hopefully that answered your question. And Daniel, of course, sounds great. Ashley, stack them up. I mean, that's where we are. I mean, whether it's showings or offerings, that's what we're trying to do, is continuous to make the home buying or home selling experience phenomenal for our clients, but then also removing friction from our members while they're doing those processes and services. So, all right, let's talk about support and training, because that's always the learning curve there just a little bit, even if I like to fancy myself as somebody who's tech savvy, but as Corey so blatantly pointed out, that it was user error when I couldn't access my apps. What is the support and training going to look like?
Sure. So we about 6 to 8 weeks prior to your go live date, we start scheduling webinars, train the trainers, sneak peeks. We record them so you can share them. And then, as it gets a little closer, there'll be a date where the members will be able to log in and start poking around and configure their showings and get them all good to go. And then the go live date will be the date that they'll actually be able to start booking the showings. you know, Kathy pointed out, you're 51,000 agents. So we, in the background, we are that duck on the pond, our feet in the background, under the water, trying to get additional resources so that we can onboard all 51,000 of you guys in a very smooth and clean fashion. So a lot of things being worked on in the background, but we also, like I mentioned, or Justice mentioned, so Toronto is about 70,000 members, and so we've done it before, and so you know,
You're
stay
prepared.
tuned for
You're
stay
prepared.
tuned for lots more information.
No, and you know what? And that's the thing. This isn't your first go around. And for those of you who weren't on in the beginning when Justice was talking about the different markets that they're in throughout Canada and throughout the country, you know, this isn't their first go around onboarding, you know, massive numbers of members. We are still going to have issues. There's still going to be technical difficulties, and we're going to have to work through that. But that's what this is all about. And that's why the adoption, again, like you said, Kathy, is at the pace of the brokerage and the agents. You know, you don't have to abandon everything that you know just to start using this service now.
Right.
Justice, you look like you were going to say something a minute ago.
I was just going to add, you know, we're looking at adding all kinds of different training opportunities over and beyond what we've done in the past. So we're in the process of developing some topical training videos, you know, for specific things in the application. So if I'm a busy agent and I don't want to spend an hour at a live training event, but I'm really concerned about how do I configure my listing to be shown, I'll have the ability to watch a 10-minute video that'll walk me through the entire process. And we're going to work really closely, not only with Netris, but with all of the associations to make sure that the communication is getting out to the agents on all of the different ways that they're going to be able to learn about BrokerBay and train how to use the application, whether they're a listing agent or a buyer's agent or both, or whatever it is that their business is.
Awesome. Sorry, my chair keeps going lower. The spring is broken. So I just keep propping myself up, and then I'm very warm because I wanted to wear this blazer today, and I've got this wind-blown effect. So thank you for playing with me today. But the other thing is that, yes, we're talking about technology. We're talking about apps. Is there still going to be a call center?
Yes. It's I think they're 24/7. It's an appointment desk. There's one in Florida. There's one in Toronto. And I believe we're going to be bringing some of that also in-house in Oregon, where Supra is. So, yeah.
No, I think that's great because there are a lot of our members that still leverage calling, especially when they're on the go and they're not wanting to open the app and try to do all that stuff. And so, you know, having the ability to just call the appointment center is also something that's still really important. I wanted to make sure that our members still understood that that's not going to be, an element that will be removed from you just because we're getting this, fantastic user interface like you were talking about, Justice, that if you still feel more comfortable with calling that number, do what works best for you. It's all about ease and efficiency in your business model. And if it makes you more comfortable to pick up that phone, pick up the phone.
Yeah, I would just, stress that they're not there to be like the virtual executive assistant, but yes, if you're in the car and you're running late and you need to call somebody, absolutely, that's what they're there for. But there are a lot of great tools within the app to let you also just do it through 3 clicks so that you don't have to call. So flexibility and options for everybody.
Well, and on the listings too, bringing this into the Netris system, into Matrix, there will be a BrokerBay button that they can push and make an appointment in Matrix.
Yeah,
so we're used to doing that now. So, yeah.
Another really cool feature, if I've done my search in Matrix and I found like the 6 properties that I want to show all in one showing event, I can send all 6 of those properties into BrokerBay to schedule a tour with 1 click. So instead of having to go and write down those listing numbers and then go into a system and then find all of those listings again, right from Matrix, I've got my search results. These are the properties I want to show. 1 click, I'm in BrokerBay and I can request showing on all 6 properties all at once.
Justice, do you know how many screenshots I have on my phone of the map and the list? And then I'm like peeking through as I'm trying to do all of that. And again, guys, that's what, yes, like Natalie said, hallelujah. That's what all of us here on this screen have been trying to figure out, is how do we make these processes more efficient? Because it shouldn't, that's what this is all about, is removing friction from all of these steps and consolidating those steps. So like Dustin said, wow, bury the lead right there. No, he's absolutely right. No more screenshots that I have to purge from my phone because I don't have any more space on my storage. So Sandra McKimmey said, will it have a smart route option?
Yeah, so the system will allow you to optimize for best driving route or for best walking route. Texas is pretty big, so I don't know if you're in a community.
We're not going to do a lot of the walking.
And it does get pretty hot. But if you're in a specific homeowners association or something like that, and you're planning on showing several properties within that association, it can do the best walking route as well.
No, that's awesome. Go ahead, Kathy.
And we're listening to this product integration between three systems here. And to me, that is so important. You talk about reduction of friction. Think about how Supra has gone out and found a great partner in a showing service. Who's already doing a fabulous job, has combined their efforts together in such a way that makes such great sense. And then also bringing the multiple listing service into play here, where you can seamlessly work between all of these technologies and not have to, well, let me remember my login to go over here and that login for there, and oh gosh, let me find my phone and do this and that and touch that. It's all together. I think this type of technology is where the investments need to be made from MLSs into vendors who are making these types of technology leaps that, well, they're not even leaps. We just need to catch up, for crying out loud. Let's be real. And let's get to the year 2000 and at least, or and try to get these products to our members so they can have access to them. And I think this is fabulous and a great leap forward.
Kathy, it's like you've been on the receiving end from maybe some dissatisfied people or some calls. I mean, that never happens. I mean, I'm still bruised a little bit from when we had to talk about MLS areas being removed a few months ago.
I'm not talking about that ever again.
It is dead on arrival. So Lori Selecki, right, Natalia, I go to directions and then check travel time to schedule. And so I think that's what we're kind of talking in the chat right now, is just the optimization, route feature. Justice, can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that's different for everyone. So when we talk about like the optimal route, is it just going to be like, here's where you should start and here's where you should stop? Does it take anything else into consideration when we're doing that?
Yeah, like other stops. So if I wanted to add in a Starbucks stop or a lunch stop or anything like that, we can put all of those things in, and then we can put them in, we can let the system say this is the optimal driving route. And then we can even move things. So if we've created an optimal route, but we need to move things around a little bit, we can do that. The system does tell you the distance and time between the current point and the next point. So as you're going through, it's all on one screen. So when I'm starting my showings at 11 o'clock and I can see it's a 20-minute drive to the next property, I can plan for, a 12 o'clock showing on my next one and make the request at 12 o'clock, but maybe it's only a 3-minute drive to the next property. The system is telling me every step, what is the time and distance between property A, property B, property C. And so it's a really easy to use service, and it's very customizable. So again, you can let the system say this is the best route, and you can use that as a starting point and then kind of move things around wherever you need to move them around.
So that was something that really piqued my interest, because I do a lot of relocation business, and sometimes you're just pounding the pavement for several hours in a day, and you build that perfect itinerary. You've got 10 houses, you've figured out your drive time, you've optimized everything. I have pit stops, I have a Starbucks, we have a lunch spot. And then, of course, it's always the one right in the middle that decides to decline your appointment. And you're sitting there with a big gaping hole of maybe an hour and a half, whatever you're trying to do because of travel time. And something that I thought was so awesome when I got to see the demo, and you guys are going to see this firsthand, was the fact that it integrates with our MLSs. Oh my gosh, we've struck a chord because they're just going boom, boom, boom. But the fact that it's integrating with the multiple systems and the MLS at the same time, I have a gaping hole now in my itinerary. And while I might not find the best house or the house that I know my people are going to buy, I've got to optimize my day with my relocation buyers. And so you guys will literally be able to see in an area, like almost like on Google Maps, where you're like, find me coffee shops in this concentrated area. It will pop up the listings that are in that area. So that's something that I think was so cool, because to fill that hole, then you can punch the different listings. They pop up with the list price, pictures, everything else. And then if you say, you know what, this is kind of maybe an outlier, but let's fill that gap. And you can literally just schedule through there. And that was something for me, who's, again, very type A, as some of our members know. I thought that was just an amazing feature to sit there and optimize a big day of showings and do that. So it was really neat to see it in the demo in real life.
You know, another feature that as a relocation agent that I think that you'll really appreciate is our integrated showing, our virtual integrated showing platform. And so what I think is really cool is listing agents who are having virtual tours done on their properties don't have to do any additional work. So currently today, you have a virtual tour done on your listing, you upload it to the MLS, and then, you know, today it's on various websites and people can access that one virtual tour. As an agent, I could send, 10 virtual tours to my clients that they could go through, but there's no interaction. And so what we've done in BrokerBay is we consume those virtual tour links that you're already uploading to the MLS, and then we make it really easy for agents to create virtual showing experiences for them and their clients who are out of the area. Maybe I'm a relocation agent, and I've got clients who are from Florida moving to Texas, and I want to spend some time going through some properties with them virtually. And it's a lot like this. It is a website that we both go to. We can see the virtual tours together. I can be driving. I can let my client drive through the properties. I can see their face. I can see what they like and what they don't like. It's a really neat platform, and it's not just for one virtual showing. Now I can schedule like 10 different virtual showing events for this client who's out of the state. And the really neat thing is the listing agent on all of those properties is getting feedback in terms of virtual showings that occurred on their properties via BrokerBay. So it's a really neat feature, both for agents who are working with clients who are out of the area, but also for listing agents. They get some more feedback and information about what's going on with those virtual tours that they're uploading to the MLS.
Well, I think this is fantastic, because what I'm hearing, and Kathy, I'll let you chime in just a second, but what I'm hearing is you guys are always trying to figure out what's that next thing, what's that next trend that's happening in your real estate business as the market's shifting and things are happening. Virtual showings were exceptionally popular. And so to bring that integration into your platform just makes me feel more confident that as the market continues to shift in different ways, trends shift in different ways, that what we're doing is we're not only just securing a service, that we're securing a service and a platform that wants to grow with the marketplace. And I think that's huge, because we've seen a shift in the last few months, right? I mean, we talked about, the offer platform and everything else, with rates going up and things changing. The way we're handling the market is changing every single day. And so the fact that you guys are drilling down and looking at that as well makes me feel super confident that we are in the right hands with Supra and BrokerBay, and that you guys are truly looking for our best interests at all times. So everybody's asking for a demo, people that aren't in our marketplace. So maybe these are future leads for Corey and Justice. Dustin, he is serious probably. They are in California and probably are looking for this, and he is awesome. So definitely we will connect to you guys after the fact. Sherry, I am going to throw you under the bus, because that's when I did get my training, is she misses her Thomas Guide / Masco book, that Spiral. she is directionally challenged, and she used to make me sit in the front seat next to her, and I would sit there and flip through and do that and go, okay, no, go left and go right, go by the Taco Bell, because she didn't know cardinal directions. So I do not miss the Thomas Guide Spiral, and hopefully you guys will continue to love all of the attributes that are in BrokerBay and everything else.
You know, in a former life, I ran a multiple listing service, and I remember being in the office on the day that we turned off the Thomas Guide fields. It was a very traumatic day. So
I know.
I got yelled at because Matsko went out of business. I'm like,
wait, because we control all the things, Kathy. I think
I'm like, I can't help they're not in business any longer. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're a trucking company now. I
guess, but I think that just means you need to wear a tiara because people think you have that much power. So right. We're gonna start doing that. We've got about 15 minutes left, and so we've had a ton of chatter in the comments, and I want to let you guys know that just like anytime we roll out new features, there's going to be trainings, there's going to be webinars, we're going to do that through BrokerBay, through Supra, through Netris, but also through Metrotex. And so it's not that we don't want to answer every single question and every single attribute, but we will get there, I promise. And we'll be able to answer all of these awesome questions that you have. As Sherry said, yeah, Kathy, you are responsible for it. Yes, no, we owe Kathy a ton, and we are very blessed to have her because she has seen us through so many different changes and phases. And this one, I think, is super exciting. This is not one to be demonized. It's one to be applauded. And this is going to make all of us as an association, as a member-run association, and as us as realtors and practitioners, this is going to create so much. I mean, we always say that you can never buy more time. This is going to create more time in our days. So 15 minutes left. What I'd love to do is if you guys have questions, feel free to continue to post them in the chat. But Corey, I'd love to hear from you for a couple of minutes. Talk to me about when you're talking to other people. Hey, you came to us at our 360 meeting, and we're talking to several of the association leaders and just saying, hey, this is why we want you guys to get excited. What are the things, you being from Supra, you were most excited about with the integration of acquiring BrokerBay?
Well, I love that we're adding innovation and value, and hopefully making, we want to add more value to our members' lives, and in turn, they're going to add more value to their clients. Hopefully, become more efficient. Frees them up to make more sales and the like. Some of the features that I really like about BrokerBay, the ability to one-click merge your calendar and appointments. So any of the showings, if the times changes, if they push, that kind of stuff, that automatically gets uploaded to the calendar. No more copy, paste, search, open the calendar, month, none of that. So I think that's a really nice efficiency. Obviously integrating with the lock boxes is a game changer for us. So yeah, I love all of it. It's been,
I think that's great, Corey. And I think you hit the nail on the head, is innovation and continuing to provide value and services. And we've seen a lot of companies that just become stagnant and say, this is what it is. This is what we offer you guys. But you guys have been on the forefront of continuing to try to offer more to the people that you service. So Richard, if you don't use Supra, you're required to participate. So that's what we kind of talked about, is that these aren't necessarily a required situation that every single one. Supra happens to have acquired BrokerBay, but you can use BrokerBay, without accessing a Supra box. Just like now, you make appointments. Some of them are Bluetooth boxes. Some of them are combo boxes. Some of them are touchpads. Am I correct in my response in that, Justice?
Yeah. If I'm a listing broker, I don't know what Netris or Metrotex rules are with regards to lockbox use, but if I'm a real estate broker and I'm in a very rural area and I'm just primarily using combination lockboxes, what's really great is BrokerBay can manage my combination lockbox inventory for me, so I know which of my lockboxes are on which properties. It will facilitate the sharing of those codes to agents who want to show those properties. So even as an agent who doesn't use Supra, I'm going to get some really nice benefits from BrokerBay.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
And then the other part of that, Richard, is that you don't have to use BrokerBay, just like the other offerings that we have through our Netris dashboard. You don't have to leverage each one of those. It's a member benefit, and that's something that you're paying through, through your MLS dues and everything else. But if you decide that you want to utilize or leverage a different showing service, absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of us that are not using every single offering, but we're still trying to bring things to the table that for the majority of our members, they can utilize and then cut expenses and make their lives easier and bring time back in their day. Kathy, what about you? I mean, you've been here for a while now. You've seen all these changes. You've seen the evolution in technology, our membership, everything else. What are the things that you're most excited through the MLS department to see get adopted?
Well, usually when Corey calls me, it's about a new lockbox or a new key, and I'm like, well, no. No, I need to announce my retirement then. So we're doing that again. But no, usually I am kind of dreading things because it's usually this is going to go away and that's going to replace it, and then there's a tangled up mess, and so, but that's not going to happen this time. Number one. Number two. Just when I saw the live demos of BrokerBay, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks like such a game changer with, again, like you said, click and drag your appointment schedule. Like I want this all of these days from, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to be green, so that means they're available for showing, and maybe there's some red, maybe I've got someone who is a day sleeper, so maybe they need to portion off during these times, no showings, and and it's just easy, and it's not click, it's click and drag, which we're all used to by now. It's also something that y'all haven't talked about is the offer management. I think that's going to be exciting. It's something that we've gotten requests, and I think we've seen some puny offerings of that type of service that really don't they just don't have the rich features that, from what has been described to me, is what that offer management platform will look like. So I think there's just so many different aspects of, and just the fact that it integrate or will eventually integrate with the Supra lockbox and the e-key. And again, I love integrated technology where things are working together instead of being so separated and you have to buy all these different subscriptions. Like if you want this, you have to pay extra, and if you want that, well, it's not included in this suite. And it's kind of like a cable company. Oh, well, I don't have a subscription to HBO, so I can't watch it. Well, that's not the case here. You get everything soup to nuts, and they're looking constantly forward to,
yes,
to how can we make this better, or what are the friction points, so I am excited about this, that we are truly working with a technology company that really is listening to our members, and I believe that that's so very important, and I'm just I'm not usually excited, guys. Really, I'm not. I'm a skeptic, and so when you tell me I've got a new product, I'm like, oh, okay. So,
well, no, and I get it, Kathy.
And I usually am not, so.
Well, and I get it, Kathy, because again, being an owner of a brokerage myself, I hear those things anytime we want to change a CRM or do something else and bring that to it. But my goal is always to look at whether it's is our email server connecting with our CRM and our calendar and our mobile apps and this and that, because they have to talk to one another. And so I think that's so important when we sit there and we don't have to worry about our MLS, our key box access, and our showing service are all going to communicate the same language. That is amazing, because now, again, I don't know if people realize we have some inventory again to show. So before, when you only were scheduling 1 or 2 showings, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal, but it's just so exciting to remove so much of that friction, have that ease of use, and be able to bring a service to our members that we know that is not only going to enhance, how they service their clients, but it's something that, Justice, you were talking about. The experience in its whole is a pleasant one. The interface is beautiful. The technology is great, but the experience. And so I'm going to let you talk in just a second, Justice, but I want to kind of recap with the people that have jumped in. Is we've got tons of things. So we've got the interface usage over 3 different systems. We've got a security, a feature that is going to be rolled out here in the next few months after we start using BrokerBay, that will allow you to set security protocols, appointment only on your lock boxes, to make sure that your sellers feel confident that there is additional security in place. In doing so, again, being able to do touchscreen versus click and drag. I mean, that's also something else that is really, I mean, look, we're all used to it. All of our devices are touchscreen at this point. That's why my daughter always goes to the television. I'm like, please stop poking the TV. So it's just being able to have all of these other things. There are going to be bumps, there are going to be bruises, but the adoption is not required. And it can be done at your own pace. And that's something I wanted to reiterate as well. I get it, Patricia. Not everybody's technology is going to be on the same page. But you know what? In due time, you can figure out, I'm going to update my technology. I'll start adopting this new software, these new systems, these new apps. But there's going to be a call center. And of course, MetroTex is going to be here to help our members, and the friction that they might experience. But Supra and BrokerBay are going to be right along the side of us, trying to help you guys start using this program, start using everything, and putting time back in your day. So, Justice, anything else that you want to chime in as far as the platform itself?
I did see a question about functionality or what types of cell phones will work. Do I have to buy a new phone or anything like that? And no, there seems to be a standard now in the cellular industry around iPhone and Android. So any iPhone or Android device will work just fine. Just to answer that question, you won't have to go out and buy a new phone to use any of the new features. You talk about, you asked me to talk a little bit more about UI versus UX. If you ever were to Google UI versus UX, one of the ways that it's explained is through the concept of what are called Norman doors. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Norman doors, but if you've ever walked up to a door that had a handle and you pulled to open the door and it didn't work, that is an example of a bad user experience. The handle indicates I should pull, so I pulled, but it's really a push door. And so that attention to detail is all through the BrokerBay application. Things work the way users think that they should work. So it's when I say intuitive, it's not just in terms of how things are laid out or where things are located, but how the actual features in the app work or on the website work is very intuitive, very much attention to detail throughout the development of the application. I think it's something that you're really going to like. I think it's something that isn't going to take as much adjustment as you may be thinking of when you start to worry about a new application that you have to learn. I think it's going to be something that you'll enjoy and learn very quickly.
I think one of the great parts of us partnering with Netris is for brokers, if you have offices in different associations, since Netris is the overarching, and with BrokerBay, you could have all that collaboration between the different offices. If you have a sales leader and a branch manager, all of that hierarchy and collaboration is built into BrokerBay. So I think that's really going to help brokers across the Netris environment.
I think what we realize, guys, is we have only scratched a tiny little surface of all the things, and I'm going lower and lower, but all the things that BrokerBay and Supra and Netris and our MLS system is going to be able to do and help us be more efficient, more agile, pivot in the ever-changing marketplace, and be supportive of us. That's the whole thing. Everyone's doing this not to create friction, but to support us in what we're doing. Because again, I'm going to always say this, our goal is to sit there and change lives, build generational wealth, advocate for individual property owners' rights. We've got a lot on our plate. That's what we should be focusing on. And so this collaboration with Supra and BrokerBay and Netris is just going to make it even better, that we don't have to worry about 5 to 10 to 15 extra steps. We need to be worrying about those things that change lives and change the impact of generations to come. So yes, we are here for you guys. We wanted to have this to at least get everybody excited, to have teasers. Justice and Corey, hopefully this wasn't so bad and that you guys will be happy to come again after we roll everything out. Maybe there's more questions when people are starting to use the app. And then Kathy, thank you so much. You are, people don't realize how lucky we are with our staff, that Kathy is sitting here at 6:30 at night, trying to sit there and continue to serve our members as she has for so many years. And so we're just so appreciative of your support, Kathy, for all of us at MetroTex as well.
Well, I love you guys, and I always want to be a great support system and continue to build that. And so, yes, and Corey and Justice are some of my favorite people, and just love what they have to bring to the table. So I'm happy to be here to help them roll this out. So
awesome. Well, good. Yes, as Johnny Moet said, hashtag Team Kathy.
Team Kathy.
Hashtag Team Kathy. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will be talking really soon, and exciting things to come. So we'll see you really soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.